I mean, Riley Cooper, I mean, like, that dude deserves a statue. I mean, like,
number one on your speed dial.
Hey, I'll tell you what, like, I mean, I didn't know until a couple days after the fact. I was like, wait a minute, is he the MVP or like was he on the all-tournament team?
No doubt about it.
And then Ty Floyd, when I struck out 17, and like stole it from him. But I was like, when has a pitcher like been a part of like 5 of the 6 wins in Omaha? I mean, what a performance!
Coach, it's great to meet you.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you for the time. Yes, sir.
Sharp a little late, boys, at the spring game, obviously, as you can see. Couple of booze cruises here to do. Let's fit. Cruise. Grand salami to the boys. Finally back on track. And I got another one coming. Don't you think I don't? And that's how we roll in Tiger Stadium.
Just watching the spring games that were on television, one thing that jumped out about your squad is your quarterback room is very talented compared to a lot of the league and a lot of the country. I wonder, is it easier to recruit that position when you have talent or when you don't have talent? Coach Kelly, we're official.
Finally,
I'm
get a
telling
chance to meet you. Thought I had to get a private audience with the Pope. There's Jordy.
Monday through Friday from 7 to 9. Yeah, you see the notification, we about to go live. We got all your favorite guests, we got them in line. It's the Jordy Culotta Show, come have a good time.
Tearing up, answering the question, I thought, my God, if Chica is offered this job, she's going to take it.
It's just a crazy, fun time at LSU right now. Isn't this what everybody loves?
From the boot to the east to the west coast, no matter where we at, open up the phone lines, come and join the show. Make sure you tell your friends about Jordy Culotta Show, yeah.
Let's go! Let's go!
All right. Nice start. Big day. Nice start.
It's the Jordy Culotta Show, come have a good time.
Coach, it's great to meet you.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you for the time.
All right, welcome in. Tuesday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, live here from our Click Here digital campus on this Tuesday morning. Appreciate everybody starting their day here with us. Make sure to hit that like button, share button, comment button, as we will be with you until 9 a.m. this morning, just like we are every single week. Today's show, a regular Tuesday. We've got our award winners here. We've got Wilson Alexander stopping by in the second hour today as we'll talk LSU football with Wilson from NOLA.com and The Advocate, and then Brooke Kirchhofer will stop by at 7:45, where we will try to find everything but the Saints to talk about. They've got to be the most boring team in the league, right?
The most maddening team in the league.
Yeah, I was about to say probably the most maddening. Because, I mean, did you watch their Monday Night Football game last night?
Oh, 12-10. We're in it.
God.
And now they want to get rid of Josh Dobbs.
Yeah, Dobbs is done.
Yeah.
Dobbs is done. We threw 5 picks last night. 4 picks.
After he was
Justin Fields outplayed him.
I think they combined for like 6.
Just
terrible football.
Justin Fields fumbles with, what, a minute and 20 seconds left in the fourth quarter, and they get the ball back. And he drops down and scores on a seed on 3rd and 24.
Watch any of that.
That was like
Justin Fields' throw was like, that was his best throw since he made the throw at Ohio State against, was it Clemson?
Yeah, in the dome.
Yes.
I saw him throw that ball.
I mean, he's got a howitzer.
He does.
Yes.
He's got to be the best looking athlete.
Oh, for sure.
Right?
And then he
Like,
just like
I mean,
get on the
did
field.
you see him in
Like,
pregame with the tinted Oakley visor
He
on?
looks so
The
good.
orange
It was
tape.
like-
I'll take him number 1.
Yeah.
I want him.
That's what happened to the Bears.
Welcome in. That's right. Folds me little rope-a-dope.
Yeah, he's got spatted up.
He looks fantastic. Welcome into a Tuesday edition show built by RMB Builders. Our phone line brought to you by Metropolitan Health Group, our friends over at Southern Regional Medical Center, formerly Metropolitan Health Group. Real doctors, real solutions. Jason Ramazan, Charlie Harvey, and the crew. Lloyd is here. Stewie is here. As always, daily built by RMB, live here from Click Here Digital. We will talk, as we said, to Brooke Kirchhofer coming up at 7:45, and we'll talk to Wilson Alexander about the latest here at LSU. And I'm surprised, really and truly. I gotta be honest. You see a lot of the movement happening in college football, right? Because of what's coming up. Less than a week away from the transfer portal opening up on Monday. That'll happen a week from yesterday. You'll be able to start choosing from the transfer portal. We saw Armani Goodwin yesterday put his name into the mix from LSU's standpoint. And I'd imagine that you'll start to see some more names start to flurry through there. You've seen names from a national standpoint, colleges across the country start to make their way. I saw Howard, the quarterback at Kansas State, put his name in. They had a former 5-star wide receiver at USC, put his name into the transfer portal. We saw Texas A&M's wide
Evan
receiver.
Stewart.
Evan Stewart.
Evan Stewart into the portal.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. It was trending.
Yeah, right. I mean, it looks like he is. I mean,
Because
Mike
Coach-
Elko's got to put his foot down
And-
on the gas here to see if he can't save a
and
roster.
Coach-
But that's why you got Elko in the time period that you had to, because he's got a lot on his plate that he's got to take care of here in a short amount of time. I mean, really and truly, I'd imagine that Elko, there's no time for celebration yesterday. Like, I mean, you just get this $7 million annual contract. You and your family fly into College Station. You do this press conference. You do this weird.
Did you see
The cult went cult
Oh,
at College
Jesus.
Station, man. I mean, that
saw
press
that
conference.
I just saw it on Twitter. Like,
I
right
mean,
as I was
Elko's in a
pulling
bad
up.
spot. Anytime you have a suit on, it's weird to kind of
Yeah,
spread
you
your
gotta
arms.
hit the unbutton, but you have no
gotta
idea what to
unbutton,
expect.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, they kind of hit him like where
Blindsided
yeah,
him.
right. I mean, they hit the band. He had been there for a year at a point, so he knows that it's weird to start off with, but it got super weird
I don't even know if he spoke.
in the press conference. But beyond all that, they weren't handing away cowboy boots. They didn't give him a national championship trophy. They did do this weird swaying thing with the 12th man that they do was.
Oh, Gig'em was up there.
Yeah, right. I mean, the cult went cult, but they brought him in on that timeline because he's got, like, there's no celebration. Whatever the best steakhouse is in College Station, his family went to it last night. Elko went to the office. He's got to go recruit his team. He's got to go, get guys from prohibit them from entering the portal. Guys that are making their way into the portal. They have to start evaluating those guys. National Signing Day is coming up here. What is it, Stewie? December 20th? It's coming up in mid-December. The first signing period is coming up. You're in the teeth of recruiting high school players and junior college players right now. I mean, it is a real busy. State championships are coming up in states around the country where college coaches are going to be all over the place. I mean, it's just it's a crucial time in college football right now. I mean, there's a lot of emphasis on this time for programs all over the country, whether you're contending, whether you're still alive, whether you're a team like Alabama and Georgia and playing in a title game. There's still a ton of work that's being done for off the field stuff looking towards next season that is happening within this window that I honestly am surprised that you have not heard any movement on LSU's staff because of all of the expectation, or at least you figured there would be some type of shakeup with the production lack of that you saw on the defensive side of the ball this season. I mean, last week, whether it was Wilson, whether it was Jacques, whoever was coming in here who covers the news daily, I mean, we were telling them, like, you're going to probably be pretty busy next week, starting pretty early. And being that we're here on Tuesday morning at 15 past the hour, and we don't have a lot of news to talk about from LSU. I mean, they picked up a junior college defensive tackle in Shone Washington yesterday, a New Orleans native, prepped at Warren Easton, signed with Georgia, ended back at JUCO, and was, again, a big-time prospect and somebody that LSU had to get. They closed on him yesterday, so that's that's good news there. But I will be honest and say I am surprised that there is no movement, no noise, no anything coming from LSU, just because of how crucial this time is of selling messages, whether it's to your current team, because you gotta believe that defensive players for LSU right now have some questions. I mean, these exit meetings that are happening. I saw Brian Kelly on Paul Feinbaum earlier this week talking about kind of what the schedule looks like without a championship game. And, exit meetings, spend about 20 minutes face-to-face per player. I imagine the defensive side's got, some questions like
we talk about it every day.
What's next season look like?
I mean, you got to have – it should be Mason Smith, Mekhi Wingo. Like, those dudes should be talking. Like, it should be like, you should come back next year. You'd be a first-round pick next year. Not this year. You won't be. I promise you won't be.
And if Mekhi Wingo would have played out, I guess, the rest of the year, that's where the injury, I guess, helps you in a sense if you're strictly selfishly from an LSU standpoint. If he continues to play the way that was, because he was always flashing on tape, he was working on getting a pretty high draft grade, I'd imagine. Not first round, but draftable player. Now if you come back with I don't know what they're going to do on the defensive line, and as far as the head coach, Jimmy Lindsey, put out a cryptic tweet that was "Go Tigers," but it was the Obama piece. Like, I don't know if that means. I don't know what that means.
It's probably just him, I guess, getting a recruit.
Yeah, I don't know if that's him getting a recruit or like.
Yeah,
I'm out.
Love y'all, I'm out. So I didn't know what that was. So that's what I'm saying. You got to figure out the defensive line front and who's going to coach him up. For Mekhi Wingo, if you get a chance to come back with the healthy Mason Smith and kind of run that thing back, you could see a potentially, improve your stock a little bit. Those are the conversations you're having.
No, you have to be having those right now. And
using all those tokens in NCAA football to get your guys back.
I mean, you're also talking to a lot of these youngsters that are
didn't get a lot of playing time.
Or annoyed with how the freshman season had gone, or have questions about how and where they fit in. I mean, there's a lot of questions right now that are very crucial to what the future of the program is going to look like. And, not having key figures in place or keeping figures in place that, didn't validate the production that you needed on that side of the ball. I am a little surprised that we are here on Tuesday morning and don't have a lot of news to talk about with LSU football. I know yesterday that we made some headlines talking about Matt House and our feeling and what we had kind of gathered in the feeling and talking to some people that he would be back a day later. I feel even more secure on those feelings and talking to more people. I believe that House is going to return for LSU, and that there was or should is going to be some shakeup on the staff, but that the fact that we haven't seen that is.
And BK said in the
kind of weird.
In the fine bump thing, he said 7 to 10 days is how long the evaluation period will be. So I'd imagine that started yesterday, so probably by the end of the week. Maybe. I don't know if that's a long time, but BK's on BK's time.
I agree. Like, I mean, like, who the hell am I to say, like, what's going on with the calendar? But this is a very just the day. I mean, it's hours and minutes mean something on these days.
Do you think it's something like, because Keelan Moses commits Friday,
right?
Do you think it might be something with that too? Like, you got a lot of players that's going to be committing, making their decisions within the next 2 months, and like, if you don't have a defensive coordinator, a lot of those kids are going to be like, whoa. Like, I don't know about LSU because they don't even have a defensive coordinator. We don't even know who's going to be coaching us. And Keelan Moses specifically, like, Matt House is his position coach. So, like, if LSU gets rid of him, it's like, now you put Keelan Moses you handcuff him.
That's
it's a lot.
That's the exact example that I'm talking about, of just how crucial this time is. I got to imagine that Keelan Moses, with the caliber of recruit that he is, he's privy to just about whatever information he needs to make that decision. If they're not making a move, he knows it. If they're making a move and there's a short list of people that they're talking to, he probably knows the short list of the people that they're talking to. I mean, he's that caliber of a player where you're not trying to play any games with him. You know what I mean? You don't want to dupe him and say, hey, commit to us on – because ultimately a commitment is nothing.
No.
Right?
These days.
You know what I mean? Like, if you want to try and dupe a commitment and say, you're keeping a guy, then he commits and you fire a guy, I mean, it's not as if you got one over on him.
No.
I mean, he can simply say, okay, well, sweet, I'm just going to switch the hat. Yeah. Right? Like, I mean, you should have just told me last week what you were doing, so it would have been gone a lot similar. I mean, it's a lot simpler. So, I agree that, like, there is that component in play, but these are just all of the things that, it's one of all of the things that is happening right now on the calendar in college football that you just have to be prepared for. You saw yesterday in Gainesville, obviously, a huge story that shook up and had some waves that were crashing here in Baton Rouge, is that Corey Raymond was released yesterday over in Florida by the Gators. And, obviously, he spent 10 seasons at LSU where he coached DBs. He was the DBs coach and cornerbacks coach from 2012 through 2021. He was also the recruiting coordinator for his last 2 seasons here. He produced 7 first-team All-Americans while he was here. Eric Reed, Jalen Mills, Jamal Adams, Tre'Davious White, Greedy Williams, Grant Delpit, Derek Stingley.
The list goes on.
Delpit won the Thorpe Award while he was here. I mean,
Stingley should have won it while he was here.
Yeah, Stingley should have been the SEC Freshman of the Year.
Bo
Nix got the Freshman
robbed
of
him
the
of
Year.
That. Because still to this day, I mean, anybody that wants to go back and forth with me on this, we can. Stingley is the best true freshman
ever.
Tyrann Mathieu, all of them. I mean, Stingley. Now, Tyrann Mathieu is in that. I mean, like, he's right there. But, I mean, what Stingley did from start to finish was,
position
he was the best player on that defense.
I mean,
from start to finish.
From the start of this.
From start to finish. There was times where he dipped and kind of, but he was a true freshman. But bell to bell, from the start line to the finish line, 24 was the best player on that team. You could have argued he could have been the Thorpe Award winner that season.
Yeah. He should have been.
Really and truly.
He had 6 interceptions.
I mean, and he guarded the the other team's best player.
Every game. Like, the Texas game.
The Texas game alone.
That's when I was like, this kid is a
He picked that pass off on the corner.
He did.
On the sideline.
No, the referee's like, that just can't happen. That's
we're not giving him that.
impossible. It's impossible.
I think the better play was.
Who was that, Duvernay?
No, it was Colin Johnson. The big 6'6" dude. Like, but the best play I think he made that day was the one where he
forced him out of bounds.
Yeah, he swats it away and forces him out of bounds.
Yeah.
Just
so smooth.
How do you as a 18-year-old, 17-year-old, how do you even know how to do that?
The technique
He's
that
got
he had.
back-to-back interceptions in the NFL. Last 2 weeks.
It's starting to click.
We're going to Houston this weekend. We're going to sit in his suite this weekend and watch him play the Broncos.
Sean.
Yeah. C.J. Stroud, too.
But Stingley will have plenty of opportunities to make a play.
But Corey Raymond, no doubt. And he'll be guarding
Sutton?
19. So, Sutton. But, I mean, look, you bring up Corey Raymond's name and people stop in their tracks as far as LSU defensive backs go, right? I mean, he was here during the golden age of that DBU run, right? Where, I mean, on the heels of 2012, where, Matthew and that crew are coming off of the 2011 season. Still to this day, the 2012 training camp, where you had 2 weeks of Matthew on the field with Eric Reed, with Jalen Mills, with Thorold Simon, with that crew, was still. I still remember being on those practice fields for those 2 days and watching that crew go through training, and it was surreal. I mean, it was like watching a Pro Bowl defensive back practice. I mean, they were so good. And Jalen Mills was a young freshman on that team that you could see they believed in and were going to bring along. And, he had to play, I believe, like Micah Eugene. Remember him? He was young on that team. I mean, he was kind of a freak athlete.
He had to step into the role for Tyron.
He did, and was not prepared for it. I mean, obviously,
freshman.
Obviously,
Yeah, same thing with Jalen Mills. Had to be a 4-year starter because of you lose Tyron Matthew, you got to plug a lot of holes in that boat. You got to plug all of a sudden, and you had guys that had to step up, and you can scrutinize them or whatever, but there were 4 and 5-star recruits that you got in the building, and that's the other thing that you get if Corey Raymond comes back home. You talk about Frank locking down the state in terms of like running backs and whatever else you want to put him on. It gives him help to recruit. And Corey Raymond will lock down the state and get you the Louisiana guys that you want to see come play at LSU. And you don't lose a Jacoby Matthews. You don't lose a Derek Williams. Like, those guys are lining up in purple and gold. You saw how much it meant to Malik Neighbors to play for LSU. I saw the tweet that you put out. Man, just weeping on the field. He didn't want to leave. He just has to.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the Devin White.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The man rode his horse through campus.
He was pleading to come back. They were like, Devin.
Coach, I just want to bring my horses to campus.
We can't do this, man. I mean,
Daisy May.
We can't do it, man. Remember our friends over at Jude's Hot Chicken and Shrimp, located on Burbank, 3930 Burbank. They got great hours over there on Burbank that you can stop in and see them. They're open 7 days a week over at Jude's Hot Chicken and Shrimp.
Went to Jude's last night?
No doubt he did. JudesBR.com. Did you get the sauce? Nashville, spicy Nashville. What do you get over there?
I get the Nash honey.
Okay.
Because it's like the hot is like
too hot.
It's not too hot. It's just like a dry.
It's a day changer.
It's different. Like, it's a different type of hot. Like, it's so dry and it's not much taste to it.
It's just you eating heat.
It's just spice.
It's
straight hot.
That's for the heat lovers.
10:30 a.m. until 9:30 p.m. daily over at Jude's Hot Chicken and Shrimp. Check them out. They're located on Burbank, 3930 Burbank, and online at JudesBR.com. All right, we're going to talk to Wilson Alexander coming up here at 8:15 this morning. We'll ask him what he's hearing on the coaching front and what's happening with LSU here during this time period. We mentioned that Armani Goodwin announced yesterday that he is going to enter the transfer portal. We've also seen some bowl predictions come out for LSU as far as some potential games and opponents that they could be playing. Notre Dame seems to be the most prevalent, the most one that seems consistent.
Everybody wants that.
When watching these bowl projections announced. We'll find out on Sunday where LSUs are playing, but it seems like there is a lot of smoke pointing towards the ReliaQuest Bowl in Tampa, which that's what the former Citrus Bowl.
Oh man,
I don't know what bowl that is.
Once you start,
Tampa,
or is that the one?
Is it the Cheez-It Bowl?
No, not the Cheez-It Bowl. Tampa.
Meineke Car Care.
That's the Outback Bowl.
Outback Bowl. That's
Outback Bowl.
Oh, the Jeremy Hill Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Outback Bowl.
Odell. Anthony Jennings
going up against that Iowa defense.
Iowa football. Coach.
In the rain.
We'll play your way.
That was the ultimate Les Miles game.
Oh, it was, man.
He's playing Iowa today.
He probably circled that game before it even happens. Like, if I can get matched up with Iowa, I'll show you football.
Give me the rain.
Yes.
Take the under.
Yes. Jeremy Hill running rampant. And then it was an all-time just LSU swag bowl. Like, we're playing up against a bunch of corn-fed boys. Y'all about to see us dance.
Like, these some real athletes.
Watch this one-handed catch.
We're about to beat you with our 8th-string quarterback.
Running right by me, coach.
So
big DJ.
It seems like Notre Dame's going to be. Does that move the meter? Do people care? Do you want to watch that? I would rather just kind of watch the young players play in a bowl game.
It's going to be interesting. just because of BK left Notre Dame.
Oh,
They
they'll
were in
turn
a
it into a
playoff
massive
spot.
storyline.
It'll be a big deal, but Notre Dame doesn't really move the meter for me.
Oh, but
Does a bowl outside of the of the
New Year's
the
Six?
Yes, every
Yeah,
time.
I want to see LSU play, and I want, like you said, I want to see the young guys play because this bowl game is all about next year. This ain't even about what happened this year. You get the 10 wins, and that's all this year is about in the bowl game, and then moving forward, it's about developing the young guys.
Well, then that's when you talk about trying to keep guys from entering the portal. This is an opportunity to say, look, this is what we're looking at next year. This is the guys that you're going to line up with. This is when you're going to get your playing down match. You see a ton of Deshaun Womack, all those guys that you wanted to see, a lot of Weeks. You see them in an expanded role where it's, okay, you get 40 snaps this game as opposed to 15. Or in Deshaun Womack's case, 3.
Yeah, 2.
And maybe you get a Quincy Wiggins sighting. Throw something out there to where this is what the defense could possibly look like when all y'all take the field together.
The Quincy thing is confusing too.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. You'll see it all.
Because he got in who did he get in?
Georgia State.
And he first play of the game. First time he's in. Make a play.
Again, I prefaced with what we were saying. I know it's Georgia State. I know it's not SEC. I know it's not the SEC West. I don't care.
Still a Division I football player
It's a football play that's being made on a defense that is, horrific. And if he can't play, then what are we watching? What are we looking at? Why can't that guy get on the field for 6 to 8 snaps every Saturday if he can just do that? That's the stuff that has been maddening with LSU. Really defensively. And I don't know whose feet that falls on, but it has to fall on Kelly because ultimately he's the head coach. And we can point and ask and wonder and curious of why these guys, whose decision is it, but the head coach can walk in and say, hey, look, these guys need to play. Make it happen. And some of the scenarios of Weeks and, Quincy Wiggins, Deshaun Womack, even Javion Taviano.
Oh, my goodness.
When you watch him play, you're like...
Coach, I went out there the first day of fall camp, and I could have said 25
spring.
needs to play, right?
Spring football.
Right. 25 should play,
the
right?
The amount that he played in spring and the way they used him in spring told me either they're super, super thin at DB, which they were, but this guy is gaining trust with them every day because he's just showing them that he's got this style to him, this yearning to learn type of mentality to him that if you're thin, he's got to be out there, right? So it was very surprising to watch spring football go through even a fall camp of hearing praise on him
and then you
get into the year and you don't see him until Alabama.
You couldn't cover my kid could have scored on him against Florida State. And they didn't even switch corners at all.
I hear you. Lucius Felder, please don't start Jordy.
It's maddening, though.
It is. It's just so frustrating.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You got to turn the page at some point because that's what I think the bowl game is. You get to see these guys, and then it kind of gives you some sort of sense of optimism for the next year because you'll see Malik for maybe a play, depending on how long that takes, and he'll get his shine. And, he'll probably come off the field, call a timeout.
He might go score it.
Yeah. He'll get that whole song and dance from the LSU side. And then if Jaden Daniels wants to suit up and do it with him, they'll both come off the field at the same time. And then you'll get 4 quarters of Nussmeier. You'll probably see a lot of Caleb Jackson. You'll see all of these younger guys. You'll see, insert any freshman wide receiver, like Jalen Brown. Yeah. Chris Hilton gets to play.
They all have their one game left to
right.
play. Sheldon Sampson only played 2 games this year.
I don't think it counts. The bowl game doesn't count against.
But even if it does, a lot of these guys haven't played 4 games.
Yeah, they got 2 games. I think Sheldon Sampson might have played 2.
Yeah, he played against Grambling, and that's all.
And he dresses out every week, which is good for him.
Sure,
I think it's good for him to watch Malik, Brian Thomas,
just all of this happening.
Right, and he's okay, I could do the same thing.
I'm next. That's how that's supposed to, that's how it's supposed to work.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's how the program's supposed to run. And that's why defensively, you wonder just like who's watching who. I mean, like it just
Blindly the blind.
I mean, really, Toviano looked like the best
Coach, he plays
from a mentality standpoint.
He
The way he
plays-
competes.
old DBU.
I mean, man, there's
Insert
one.
him in-
There's one.
Yeah,
You know what I
insert
mean?
him
Like,
in
put him out
any-
there. Like,
any LSU secondary from the last 10 years, and he survived.
well, absolutely, he would be recruited to it.
Like,
Whether or not he could play, I don't know. But I mean, his mentality alone would allow him to be in the room. And first and foremost, that's what they
lacking.
They just don't have it. They just they ain't got it. I mean, they just don't have it.
I wonder what J.K. Johnson is in his like recovery.
It sounded like he's doing. I mean, from what I was told last week, he got on a treadmill, so he's starting to
back
kind
running and
of
stuff.
be more active.
'Cause
I mean,
he's big. Like,
he's a
that's-
forgotten
that's-
guy,
right,
You know
that's
what I mean?
another
You throw him
person
into
that
the
you
mix,
just-
and that's going to help you out tremendously. Just as far as bodies go. Remember our friends over at Hughes Mechanical Air Conditioning, located in Zachary, headquartered in Zachary, with an office over on the North Shore, and they can handle everything in between on the I-10 corridor in South Louisiana, from Lafayette to New Orleans, in between on the North Shore, as we said, Mandeville, all over the place. Here in Baton Rouge, if you want to get in touch with Hughes Mechanical, call Travis Hughes and the crew at 225-658-2147. 225-658-2147 is the phone number. Online at hughesmechanical.net. HughesMechanical.net to get in touch with Hughes Mechanical for commercial or residential air conditioning service, installation, questions that you may have. They're a trusted Daikin dealer over there at Hughes. Online at HughesMechanical.net. So LSU is off now here with the championship weekend coming up. And, man, what's going on at Colorado?
I guess – I don't know. I think Shador might be coming back next year.
He broke his back.
Yeah, he did break his back. But
Spinal.
I think he's coming back, so I think that's why all the quarterbacks are decommitted. Because, like, they know I'm not coming in and play. And
Well,
then
I mean,
they had two quarterback committed.
Well, he had a decommitment from 2025. So, I mean, by the time
that
guy gets here, Shador will be gone. I mean,
I guess they're getting word that it ain't all sunshine and rainbows.
It was fun those first 4 weeks.
they've only got 8 commits right now. To give you an idea,
in the 2023 class?
This class, they've got
2024.
8 commits.
Jesus.
After all of after the wave of decommitments over the last week. To give you some perspective, LSU has 26 commitments after Shone Washington committed yesterday. So, I mean, I don't know why this is – I mean, I'm not trying to make a big deal out, but, I mean, like, that's – something's up.
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I mean? Like, that's –
they have a worse recruiting class than Vanderbilt right now. They have 10 players committed.
When I think there was a quote of him saying after their last game, he was asking for money from the boosters. He's like, it pays to play. So he's obviously trying to either go into the transfer portal or he was trying to cling on to some commits. And because whenever the hire happened, the first 2 weeks was a flurry of everybody was going to visit Colorado, go see Colorado, commit to Colorado, like sight unseen. And then you see kind of how the way it played out was, let's take a step back. Do I really want to take my talent there and try to rebuild something where if I'm a 4 or 5 star guy, I can insert program and go to something that I know is a little bit established. Deion's going to have to go full Deion to keep these kids committed and interested in building a program.
I mean, and I don't know if there's a real trust on Deion staying.
Yeah.
Like if I'm a player, I'm like, man.
I would wait until after his kids leave to see where he jumps or if he does. Because and that was another thing that you have to think of. I don't think there's a job out there for him right now. It would have been, if A&M wanted to make the splash hire, that would have been like a name to be like, oh, that'll get people interested. But they go the probably the safe route with Elko. And I couldn't imagine Deion in that circle yesterday.
He wouldn't have liked that.
No, we shut this shit down.
Nah, not today.
I will take those boots, though.
I mean, we think LSU has D-line problems. They only have 2 defensive linemen committed. I mean, they only have 10 commits, but they only have 2 defensive linemen committed. And 2 offensive linemen committed.
And another thing that's kind of
this is
alarming at Colorado is that the coaches are leaving.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if you remember the defensive line coach, is it Tim Brewster, I believe is his name?
I think so.
He's kind of like one of these like like a typical
D-line coach.
right. Or no, I believe he was the tight ends coach. He might have been the tight ends coach. But he was also he was a guy that was
Oh, he resigned.
right.
Damn.
And he was like kind of one of those ones that was real rah-rah, real kind of bold on social media. Like when he was the one that like walked in the room that day and was and like told everybody to stand up. Kind of was like, like old school coaching them. Like kind of like yelling at them, getting in their face. Where I mean, I'm sure that stuff still happens today. And I'm sure it still goes on, but a lot of people aren't promoting that, right? Like, I mean, if that's happening over in a program, you won't see a lot of that. And a lot of people went at Brewster on social media for that, like kind of like this is. I remember it was. I want to say it was a radio host was like, "This is the difference between the NFL and college." It's like you can't do this stuff in the NFL.
Yeah, it
like you can't get in people's face in the NFL. Like you can't.
This is grown men.
Right.
It's the old Nick Saban at when he went to Miami.
Jason Taylor knocking on his office door. I'm just
Coach,
trying to help you, man. Like you can't
know.
talk to people that are paid more than you
like that.
Like that. It's just not going to work.
Stepping over people,
especially
in
if
the
you're going to be
locker
5'7".
Dog, we'll knock you out.
Yeah, right. And so it is. I mean, it is kind of red flag.
He and Zach Thomas were eye to eye.
So this this Sports Illustrated thing says the resignation by Brewster will allow Deion Sanders to bring on Hall of Famer Warren Sapp.
Okay.
So Warren Sapp's going to be the D-line coach next year.
Wow. I mean,
I guess.
A lot of egos.
Yeah, a lot of egos. But I mean, him and Deion probably go way.
Oh, no
way
doubt.
Back.
No
yeah, and they
doubt.
had that. There was a. I saw them like putting that deal together. Like Sapp hung out with Colorado this year.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
like an
Yeah,
analyst.
he was around, and you could they had like a one-on-one with them, and you could hear Sapp like telling him how much he wants to be a coach, and Deion was embracing that, and it sounds like they're making that happen. So, all right, we're going to talk to Brooke coming up here in a couple of minutes. We'll talk, man.
Deion to the Saints.
We'll talk.
Jay
Saints.
Daniels and Deion to the Saints.
If you have a question about the New Orleans Saints,
Oh, I got questions. They just don't have any answers. I mean,
you have
Alvin
anything you're
Kamara
curious
is
about-
coaching the team through press conferences, which that's what I'm interested to hear from Brooke. She's in the room when Alvin Kamara is just kind of going, I'm tired of hearing we need to, like, oh, we can do this to fix that. He's like, just fix it. I'm tired of hearing how we're going to do it. Just let's do it. He's tired of the platitudes. I think everybody is on, if you're a Saints fan, and now if you're a Saints player, it's like, we don't have chemistry issues within the locker room. It's like, it's us kind of, it feels like it's them versus the coaching staff at this point. And if you rewind, 2 weeks, it felt like DA was safe for a split second, where if he wins a division and gets in the playoff, they're like, oh, maybe we'll run it back a year. Now, it feels like you're looking at two dead men walking and Pete Carmichael and Dennis Allen.
nobody should be safe.
Pete Carmichael has been buried, but
they should
They
clean
should
house.
clean house from the top down.
Well,
with the
They
New
should have
Orleans
cleaned
Saints.
house when
should
they
have.
when
Absolutely.
yeah, the transitional period.
I
when
agree.
Drew Brees said, I can't even throw.
I don't have a right arm.
that man does not even have a right arm.
He does
anymore.
not. He can't pick his right arm up over his shoulder.
Imagine how that
He can't
feels
do
like in
this.
the morning.
Oh, he
He's
probably
probably
sleeps
like,
in a recliner.
I mean,
That is
tough to fathom. You know what I mean? Like,
Left it all out there.
no doubt.
Literally left
doubt.
it all
And
up
you could
there.
see it in his last year where he would go for the big.
It was like push pass.
Well, he would go for the big shot. And he's like,
Yeah.
AK, go
Yeah.
get me some.
Just can't throw it, man.
But you can see it though. Like his whole career, he's always like moving
Oh,
his
God,
shoulder.
it
Yeah,
had to
he's- I mean, that
feel
was his
so
thing in between
bad.
plays.
Yeah.
He was always
Get
like,
it back in
He was
place.
constantly like.
This thing hurts.
I
Damn.
mean, James Andrews, I believe, said it was like a 1 in a million type surgery. I mean, like he told him going in, he was like, "Man,
Tell you straight
this
up.
is not supposed to work."
Yeah, you may be able to play football for how
3 or 4 years or something.
right. Well, no, he's like, but in the long term, like you're going to have some serious. It is true. I don't care. And now he's at that point.
football.
26 years old, man.
Yeah,
like, you're not thinking. I'm
give a
never
damn
gonna
about-
get old.
Damn about this shoulder.
Yeah, right. Like my shoulder will never hurt.
And it hurts him so bad he can't play.
Now
I've
you-
never seen him like him and the way Tom Brady's talking about football. You can tell he's like upset at how the game is being played. Like he instantly became like the old man, like yelling at the glass, like, "This isn't my football." Like Tom, you played 2 years ago. He's like, I think you just want to play. Like
That's what it is.
And Drew's the same way, where he's like, if I could throw, I'd still be out there.
Yeah.
And it's like, God, what are you gonna do?
Miss football.
Miss football. I mean,
And I'm watching Hard Knocks in season with the Dolphins. How much do I like Mike McDaniel? Dude?
I love
this
Mike
guy
McDaniel.
is unbelievable.
He's so cool.
But he explains the journey of a football player better than I've ever heard it described in my life. I'm telling you, he says his responsibility of a coach is to bring the best he can to these players, to give them every opportunity to succeed, because they work their whole life to get here. Once they get here, it's a pound of pressure that nobody really understands. And then it is your identity for the rest of your life. I mean, think about it. Think about how you think of Lawrence Taylor. Think about how you think of Jamarcus Russell. Think about how you think of, hell, O.J. Simpson.
Still a football
right?
player.
I mean, like, at the end of the day, this is what these guys are identified by. And for, someone like Mike McDaniel, a coach, that's why you're looking at what Dennis Allen's doing. You're like, man, you don't know what you're not.
You shouldn't even be here.
You're a good defensive coordinator.
and now the defense is lacking.
They're getting old.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was a bit. That was
that was inevitable.
Yeah,
I
this
mean,
is gonna happen. Like,
don't tell Tyrann Mathieu that 2 picks.
Two
I love
picks.
it.
I'll
Oh,
take
he's looking at Desmond Ritter going, young buck.
Yeah, right.
I got. Here's some old tricks.
You're
you ain't
staring
seen.
at me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right. That's easy again. But I mean, the defense was that's what the Saints kind of get. This was all set up to happen at some point. You can't keep trying to run it back whenever you don't have anybody to run it back with. Like, Michael Thomas can't stay healthy. Chris Olave can't stay healthy. Alvin Kamara can't be happy. Like, David Carr was not the answer. Or Derek Carr. Now I'm doing it. Like,
welcome to the party, pal.
I know. I'm just tired of looking at
They're
him.
the same person.
And then
That's the same.
his explanation on that pick
my
six,
God,
like,
man.
just say you made it.
Get out of here.
Even if the safety's not right there, there's still a incompletion because the corner is right on the receiver.
What are you looking at?
He needs to get far away from a microphone.
He does.
Because he
does.
can't lie.
And he's just...
They should just put Jameis up there every week.
Oh, Jameis.
They need to put Jameis in the game.
Yeah.
If you're this bad,
at least
give
be fun.
me a chance.
Did you see Jameis
Yes.
rap?
Yes.
It was unreal, dude. It's unreal.
It made it even better that he was rapping to Derek Carr.
Derek Carr.
Because somebody on Twitter was like, this clip makes it even better because Derek Carr is fighting for his life.
He stared at that iPad.
And
trying to
Jameis is
study.
having the time of his life.
2 different kids at the party.
Unreal. And Luda in the background.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing.
Jameis has the best seat in the house. He's the biggest football fan of all time. He's like, dude, you're not enjoying this right now? He's rapping
Unreal.
moves, bitch, get out the way. He's like, literally, get out the way. I'm trying to play.
Hit that like button for us. Hit that share button for us. If you're watching right now and you have not subscribed, simply hit that subscription button for us. We're going to talk to Brooke Kirchhofer from New Orleans.football next. Speaking of New Orleans.football, we've got some big announcements coming up here over the next couple of weeks that we're really excited about. But urging you, get over and find New Orleans.football on YouTube. They got a great YouTube following. They have around like 45,000 subscribers, and we want to bring the Jordy Culotta Show subscriptions and subscribers over to New Orleans.football. We'll tell you why coming up here in a couple of days, but we're excited about what the future holds, about what could be happening to us from a digital product. So make sure you find New Orleans Football, New Orleans.football on YouTube, as we got some pretty cool things coming up here to announce over the next couple of days. All right, Brooke's going to be here, and we're going to talk Saints next, and we'll ask her what the hell is going on. Come back with us here on the Jordy Culotta Show. We'll be back right after this from Click Here Digital.
Football's fun. Fun, sir.
Red Stick Sports, a local staple in Baton Rouge to all sports fans, was founded back in 1981 and has remained a family business for over 40 years. Today, they still have the great selection on the floor, but they're also a leader in custom apparel for businesses, sports teams, and other groups. Take it from us, everybody over here at FM Digital Media. They help us out with all of our apparel. Let them help you out today. Go ask for Cody over at Red Stick Sports. Check him out online at redsticksports.biz.
The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you by A-Bears Lawn Maintenance. Commercial or residential, A-Bears Lawn Maintenance is ready to work. A-Bears can tackle all your homeowners association requirements. Call Blake at 225-485-8022. A-Bears Lawn Maintenance.
In a wreck, Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys is ready to go to work for you. Come meet your team.
I'm your intake specialist. I coordinate your case and connect you with your attorney and paralegal.
That's us, your legal team.
Thanks.
And we'll fight to get you every dollar you deserve.
I'm your settlements and disbursement manager, and I'm here to get you paid on time.
I'm attorney Gordon McKernan. Put our team to work today. Just call us. Get it done.
Hey Tiger fans, when you're traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, make sure to visit Tom and Wright Granning at Go Mart and On The Go Deli, where you can fill up your tank and your belly. Go Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you may need on your trip. Located at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on the left. Also stop by Wardo's Po' Boys at 309 North Broadway on the beautiful Natchez Bluff, where the Po' Boys are so good you'll swear you're in Cajun country.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
All right, buddy. Make it a good shot.
Oh, yeah.
Sticking the roof in.
For a hole in your roof, for a whole new roof, go roof. Roof, roof, go roof.
Hey, Greg, the roof up?
Roof's up. Roof's up. Roof's up.
Roof's up?
Roof's up.
Roof's up! Beautiful roof every single time.
True. True.
Well, the Ochsner Andrews Sports Medicine Institute collaborative effort was an idea from Dr. Andrews and myself to bring together two great names, the Andrews name and the Ochsner name, to elevate the quality of care for athletes in the state of Louisiana, where he's from.
I always thought I would come back to Louisiana and practice orthopedics with my subspecialty being sports medicine. This was an opportunity through Ochsner's to come back and work the entire state to help develop and take sports medicine to a new level.
As an orthopedic surgeon, what this means in the future in terms of, access for our community to the type of care that Dr. Andrews pioneered, words can't describe how valuable that is.
Ochsner has a great opportunity here to really grow, and Dr. Burnham, of course, is the mainstay of making that happen. If you want to have first-class sports medicine care, check in with Dr. Burnham and his group, and you'll be more than impressed and pleased.
I'm Tom Granick with Go Martin, Wardo's Po' Boys in Natchez, Mississippi. On behalf of the Granick family, we invite you to run, walk, or stroll in the second annual Rudolph Roll. Held on the beautiful Natchez Bluff, this holiday event will kick off at 8 a.m. on December 9th and will include a 10K, 5K, and 1 mile kids fun run. Along with the race, there will be live music, drinks, and of course, po' boys. We're looking forward to an even bigger party this year. For more information, please check out the link on Wardo's Facebook page or scan the QR code. Hope to see y'all there.
Hey, Chino. Cut my headphones up, bro. Yeah, right there. Now I'm focused on getting deposits. Evil in the way, now I'm just driving around it. They said I need a soul searching, I already found it. I unlocked my other side, now I'm sounding astounded.
All right, welcome back to your Jordy Culotta Show, as always, built by our friends over at Go Roof. Check them out at GEAUXroof.com. Go Roof, roofs up with our friends over at Go Roof. 927-8300, 225-927-8300 is the phone number. Residential or commercial roofing services, Go Roof's got you taken care of today. I've been in business for over 15 years. Trusted name, competitive pricing. Get in touch with them. GEAUXroof.com. Roofs up, a beautiful roof every single time. Go Roof, online, GEAUXroof.com, and 225-927-8300. All right, Brooke Kirchhofer is with us every single week here on the show. We got a lot to talk about with the Saints this week. Jason Pierre-Paul has had enough after a week in New Orleans. He's going home to Miami. Derek Carr cannot get out of the red zone. He cannot score points.
Could get you in the red zone, get the other team in the red zone.
He's a magnet for the red zone. Then he throws points to the other team once he gets there. He cannot put points on the board for the New Orleans Saints. Alvin Kamara says they've got no identity. Dennis Allen says they do have an identity. It's an absolute mess down in New Orleans. So let's get down there and talk to our favorite, Brooke Kirchhofer, who is the Louisiana Sportscaster of the Year and a Tuesday regular here with us on the show. Brooke, good morning. Happy belated Thanksgiving. How are you?
Good morning, guys. Hope you guys had a good Thanksgiving, too, because, man, poor Saints fans only got to enjoy their Thanksgiving for a few days. And I heard you guys talking about Saints fans and how passionate they are. We were back in New Orleans, right, at the airport, and somebody comes up to us, not really walking up and say, like, hey, know you guys from the show, like coming straight at us for questions. And we're like, all right, let's hear it. And he comes up to us asking about the pick six, and he's like, looking at us, trying to figure it out, and then he just walks back and says, is Derek Carr blind? And then just walks away from us. These fans, look, they're going to voice their opinions as they should. It has been incredibly frustrating for these fans to watch this team, especially when your team is again struggling in the red zone. They seem to have gotten better, at least in the red zone, a little bit through the season, and then you're back to it. 0-5 in the red zone. You're not going to win ball games kicking 6 field goals, especially this late in the season. Credit to Blake Rupe. He made 5 of them, but it just wasn't enough against the Falcons.
Brooke, the Saints are almost setting it up on a tee for the fans right now, right? I mean, it seems like a lot of the stuff is happening internally, and people are just reacting. I mean, we gave the example of Kamara, in the post-game press conference being very honest, just saying, look, we lack identity. And then the head coach, getting up and disagreeing publicly with the best player on the team, it's just not going to play well. That's just not going to go well, right? I mean, what do you sense the state of the Saints is right now?
Well, you could tell Dennis Allen was not prepared for that question. He almost kind of stuttered a little bit when being asked about it. He kind of gave himself a few seconds to try and answer it, because I don't think he thought he was going to be asked about that. I'm not sure if he even knew that Alvin said that at that point in the day on Monday. He found out about it anyways, and Alvin Kamara and him at least are not on the same page. I asked Alvin Kamara after the game, is the locker room still intact? And when I asked him that, he said, from what standpoint? He goes, because the players are all on the same page. But right now, the coaches, that just seems to be where the issue lies. He didn't outwardly say it. He kept saying things need to get different. And I said, how in the world do you find new ways to either win or stay in these games this late into the season? And Alvin kind of had a long pause and said, look, when I get into coaching, I'll let you know, kind of presenting that coaching continues to be the problem. And look, it's no secret at this point. It's not like some dirty secret that nobody wants to talk about. Like the fan base knows, the coaches know, the team knows that the coaching has to get better. You just let a team go 228 rushing yards on you when run defense was supposed to be corrected over the bye week. Dennis Allen was even asked in post game, do you feel like you guys regressed after the bye week based on some of the things that you wanted to correct? And he said, no, not really, but I just disagree. This is a team that came out flat against a rival who almost made this feel like a homecoming game. In college football, when you have like LSU welcoming in, like, I don't know, like a Temple, and they make it their homecoming game. Atlanta kind of did that with the Saints by making this a full-blown concert with the celebrating 50 years of hip-hop in Atlanta. You had Ludacris suspend from the ceiling. You had guys singing on every single timeout or break. Like, it was almost kind of throwing it in the Saints' face. And then at the end of the game, they played Choppa Style and some other New Orleans songs right as the Saints were walking off the field. It's just, you would expect the Saints to get up for a game like this when they're first in the NFC South. They are now technically tied for first right now with the Atlanta Falcons. Of course, the Falcons right now have the tiebreaker with the win over the Saints. But the fact that this division is still wide open speaks a lot to the division this year and the state of it, and the team's just really struggling. But it's still there for the Saints if they want to try to figure this thing out. But To me, after this game, the biggest glaring concern is Derek Carr and not being able to finish. Yes, there were penalties. Yes, there were turnovers. One of them, a Derek Carr pick six that he later talked about and said, credit to Jesse Bates. He didn't expect him to leave his assignment as the single high safety. But it's like, Derek, you stared down the receiver. Buddy. The safety read it perfectly. It off. And I watched the replay back this morning of it slowed down, and Derek Carr missed the receiver. The ball was right behind him. So it's easy to – there's a lot of blame in this game. I'm not saying it's one person, but the Derek Carr struggles that has to be the main priority this week as you're now getting prepared to host the Detroit Lions.
I was going to ask you that, Brooke. I mean, the explanation. I mean, what do you want me to do with that? I mean, to have the time to diagnose it, go back and watch it, and then get publicly and say that, I was like, oh, no. I mean, what up, Rue?
What up, Rue?
Yeah.
You've got some questions, too.
Yeah, I hear you, Rue. I hear you. I mean,
coach the team.
Can you play quarterback?
Yeah.
I mean, Brooke, I'm not trying to put you're in that room, but I mean, there had to be a looking around of, uh-oh. I mean,
so to be fair, I was in the locker room at that point interviewing Alvin Kamara because Alvin did like a full 20-minute dissertation on the struggles and things like that. Alvin Kamara was one of the only players in the locker room who stayed to do interviews. Rashid Shaheed stayed to do interviews. I tried to get a defensive lineman because, look, you have to talk about this run defense at some point. You just lost JPP to Miami. And, look, I know – a lot of people are going to say, oh, he wanted to leave. This was his opportunity to show that he could still play. Like, he did put out a heartfelt post that this was a tough decision to make. Look, the Saints had an opportunity to keep him in-house if they kept him off the practice squad. So that's not necessarily just JPP's fault for taking a better offer. And why wouldn't you want to go to the Miami Dolphins right now? If anybody had to pick right now for a team you wanted to play for at the end of the season, whether it be the Saints or the Dolphins, most people are going to go with the Dolphins based on the state of the organization right now. But the place it puts the defensive line is scary because Cam Jordan, it's not a shin injury, it's an ankle injury, and we don't know the severity of it. We do know that he wasn't able to come back in the game. Chris Olave is in concussion protocol, and I believe he is now on his fourth concussion. So him coming back this week is still in question. Rashid Shaheed also suffered an injury and left the game very early. He actually tried to play through it, which to me maybe made it worse. And so you don't know if he's going to be back this week. So if you're down your top three wide receivers, Michael Thomas, Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, you're down to starting DN and Cam Jordan. JPP just left. Are we in a world where it's Tano Passanio and Carl Granderson as the DNs, but who's backing them up in the game? Because we know the Saints like to rotate these DNs in and out. So that leaves you with Isaiah Foskey as your backup and a guy who's rotating in and out. So depth is a serious concern at wide receiver and DN, which what a terrible week to be down at those positions with the Lions coming in. And the Lions have something to prove after their loss during Thanksgiving week. And Dan Campbell and Aaron Glenn, all guys who wanted the job that DA has. Like, a lot of these guys really do have something to prove. There's a few Saints players on that team. CJ Gardner-Johnson is on that team. He's going to be coming back into the Dome. Alex Anzalone is going to be questionable to play, former Saints linebacker. But I don't think there's a lot of people that are going to pick the Saints this weekend. I'm not. I think the Lions will get a win in the Dome, and then the Saints are in a really tough position.
Agreed. I think that the Lions, for sure, are looking at the Saints as a very vulnerable opponent and a place to make a statement.
It's a winnable game for the Lions. But when you have a coach like Dan Campbell, he's not saying that in the locker room. Sure. This is a guy who is still going to be that rah-rah, like, we got something to prove, let's go in here. And that, to me, scares me even more because it could get out of control when you have Dan Campbell as your head coach. Like, this could be like a 42-0 game. Scary. Like, could be scary if the Lions don't let their foot off the gas.
3 weeks ago when we were talking, it felt like DA was safe. I didn't see a scenario. You're still talking about a team that's contending in the South. If that happens, Brooke, if what you just explained happens and Campbell comes in here and embarrasses them, which I think is potentially a real possibility, what do you see the future of leadership here?
It's in question. It's in question now. Yeah. I think the seats are hot, but they're just going to continue to get warmer as the season goes on if you continue to struggle when you are in a position to really hold on to that first place spot. I think the Falcons' loss is more detrimental than the Lions, but the Lions now can be added on top of that. And Mickey Loomis is going to have some tough decisions to make. I will say Mickey Loomis left the press box just before halftime, and we didn't see him return. I assume that he went over to sit with Gil Benson, and then we did see him in the locker room after the game. Tensions are running hot, and he has a fan base that is frustrated. He has a fan base that are questioning whether or not they want to renew their season tickets. I've had fans ask me if they should renew their season tickets. I mean, don't ask a reporter that question,
Right.
but it's definitely
Right.
it's
No, you should subscribe to New Orleans football is what you should do.
It's much more entertaining.
your money. Do that with your money. Yes.
right.
But look at the changes that have been made. The head coach in Carolina is now out. There's been so many coaching changes right now. So I was talking with Nick about this the other day. Like, when do you get in the race for the next head coach? Like, if this isn't going to work and at the end of the season you want to make a change, is it better to make a change now and maybe get in the ear of Ben Johnson and try and figure out, what would it take to get the guy who everybody is going to want when the season's over in New Orleans? It's such a hard line to walk right now, especially as a reporter, but you can absolutely say, look, the offensive coordinator, Pete Carmichael, I just don't see a scenario where he returns with this team. It was bad last year, and it was a risk bringing him back, and it was almost like, all right, if you can, this is like your tryout to stay and keep your job. And to me, I don't know if Pete Carmichael comes back, but a lot of Saints fans are frustrated when they hear us say this, but the Saints organization, they're not big on change when it comes to head coach, and I wouldn't be surprised if they keep DA and go with a new offensive coordinator next year, but I also wouldn't be surprised if they do finally pull the trigger and clean house and try to figure out a way forward, because if the Saints tank the rest of the way, you kind of have to make a decision. Then it becomes, what is Mickey Loomis's future, and what does Mickey Loomis want to be remembered as in New Orleans? Yes, he had the Drew Brees and Sean Payton era, and that will forever be at the top of his list as a GM, but if he wants to stay as the GM in New Orleans, he's got some really, really tough decisions to make now. I don't think this is something that can be waited on until the end of the season as far as the offensive play calling goes, because it's as bad as it gets right now. It's all window dressing. Derek Carr, 305 passing yards, but for what? No touchdowns? You threw one touchdown just to the other team. You had the one pick, 6 in the game. Alvin Kamara is doing enough in these games. Tyrann Mathieu had 2 interceptions. We thought that was going to do something for the Saints in the game. Tyrann Mathieu kind of flipping the script, giving the ball back to the offense. They didn't do anything with it. So it's to the point right now where frustrations have officially boiled up over, and there's decisions to be made. And the Saints right now are having to make phone calls this week just for players, not just coaches. They're having to figure out who's playing wide receiver this week. Dennis Allen was asked about that, and he said, we think the answer and the solution to that is in the building. So what is that? Keith Kirkwood, Lynn Bowden,
Taysom Hill
Marquez
again.
Callaway, who they just brought back. Maybe Taysom Hill, you would think, but they just haven't used Taysom Hill when they've needed it. That's another big mystery right now. So we'll see what happens. You would hope maybe they get the tight ends involved, but I know Jawan Johnson left with something going on. Somebody had mentioned in the locker room that he had maybe been in protocol, which would be concussion protocol. So we'll see what happens there. We don't have any information yet on Jawan Johnson, but if he's potentially not 100%, that you get into some bad waters as well.
The content right now over at NewOrleans.football is must read, must watch, must listen. Go out and check out the podcast, the YouTube channel, online at NewOrleans.football. It is great stuff. They're covering the Saints as good as anybody out there. They've got the information first. There's a lot of stuff happening around the franchise, so make sure and check it out with our friends over at NewOrleans.football. Brooke, it's good to see you this Tuesday. We will look forward to your recap next week.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
See you. There she is, Brooke Kirchhofer, checking in this morning. She's on social media at Brooke Chesney if you want to check her out. But things not good down with the Saints. You can feel it when you watch them. I mean, they don't feel like they're aligned.
It's a disconnection between players and coach, which is the worst thing you can have happen.
When you have players saying one thing in post game, and you've got coaches, not even knowing it was
We
said.
have a culture. No, we don't.
Yeah, right.
Oh, no, we got a culture. Y'all ain't got a culture.
Coach, I don't know what y'all are doing, but me and the
good.
boys, we chilling back here.
I mean, but that's where they're at. It's just a total disconnect between players and coaches, and at some point,
that was a bad hire from the jump. That's just
jump.
what it is. Like,
it feels like Loomis is done.
See,
the thing with, and we'll talk about this throughout the year because I imagine it's going to be an interesting offseason, and I don't know how you don't get rid of Dennis Allen. I don't care if you win the division. I mean, it's the.
Well, I mean, the division's
Have
terrible.
you-
That's what I'm saying.
Have you looked at the division?
The smartest kid in summer school. Like, I'd be good. Here's your piece of
I'm
paper.
the tallest Culotta.
Yeah. Hey.
You can make you.
What are we
go to the
averaging
next
over?
round.
5'7"3/4. What do you want from me, huh?
Still growing. But like, even if they win the division, you wouldn't think that they
Go to the playoffs.
Go to the
but it's
playoffs.
like-
Then what? You're gonna get donkey dicked by whoever you play. It don't matter. And you have Dan Campbell who's gonna come in here and run the ball 40 times right down your gullet because he wants to prove a point. Like, if you just gave up 220 rushing yards to the Falcons, who Bijan Robinson, they don't even want to use him, and he got involved, and that's not even the guy that hurt you. You got hurt by the backup. And Dan Campbell's got a stable of backs that he cannot wait to use. What happened to Jamal Williams?
Dan Campbell wanted the Saints job.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's
a risk. I mean, it's a risk reward hire where somebody that, but it would have been a guy that you wanted to keep the culture around. Dan Campbell knows the culture. He's a Sean Payton disciple. He would have been able to at least make it exciting. And what you're seeing right now is just
boring.
I mean, I put it on.
They kicked 5 field goals on Sunday.
I literally tried to watch the game. I put it on, and I was like, I'm not going to go to Red Zone. I'm going to watch the Saints.
Yeah, I tried.
12 minutes and 45 seconds in, I was like, I'm going to the Red Zone. I can't do this.
It's just
painful.
Yeah.
It's painful.
And Red Zone's entertaining.
I mean, Carr is as bad as we thought he was going to be, maybe worse.
I could get you to the red zone,
That's what's so crazy.
but I can't get you in the.
It's like he has a panic attack. He's like, oh, I'm too close. Ooh.
It's not enough. This is not enough space.
It shrinks down.
I want to stare at one receiver.
It's not Fresno State anymore.
I ain't got Devontae Adams.
No, and that's the other thing is, if you do make a coaching hire, because it does feel like you're kind of tied to the contract, right? With Carr, he's impossible to move. Nobody's going to pick that up. You can't cut him. And so, do you just bring in an offensive coach that is you try to pull like a Sean Payton-esque hire where he can resurrect your career a little bit, like he's doing a la Russell Wilson, where there's an offensive guy out there that you just go,
yeah,
take
him,
figure it out.
But who is it though?
I mean, I 9 years, 10 years into the
Eric
league
Bieniemy
with Derek Carr.
Oh goodness!
And you're still trying to develop him, and he's talking about strong safeties stepping up on crossing routes that he doesn't see.
Sounds like me talking to my buddy when I'm high playing Madden. Like, I didn't see him.
I mean, what do you mean you didn't see him? You've been playing this game for 9 years at this level. That's pretty elementary stuff.
And the safety you threw it to is an all-pro. You should know where he is every play.
And I told him, hey, hell of a play.
It just
that's what a cover one safety's supposed to do.
Yeah, right. I mean,
that's what all pros do.
And the fact that he thought he was really telling us something. He's like, I mean, I read cover one. It's like, you're supposed to do that.
I hope you are.
But you misread it. Like, and just don't like. He thought he was flexing by saying, like, I knew what coverage I was looking at. He made a hell of a play. Yeah, everything gets condensed in the red zone, and it gets harder to make like tight window throws. And he threw it 15 yards behind him.
It's so frustrating watching the Saints.
Yeah.
It's like this is almost worse than like old LSU, like watching toss dive for.
Well, because it's kind of the same scenario where you have the talent, it's out there,
it's beating your head up against the wall. I mean, for as bad as LSU's defense is, the Saints' offense are as bad. I mean, it's.
If they played each other, it'd be.
that's what the Saints
would be
need.
the Spider-Man meme.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I mean, like.
Do you suck? I do.
Yeah.
I mean,
Derek
how
Carr,
bad?
Yeah. Derek Carr get right game.
Oh god.
That's what
Maybe.
he needs.
Or
slump buster.
Yes.
Or an Omar Spates get right game.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's just.
And then they're gonna fumble it in the draft.
Oh god.
And they better not draft Jaden Daniels.
I don't want to see him.
I mean, that would be like Jamarcus going to the Raiders.
Yeah, it'd kill his career.
And it's so funny that it's the Saints were like, oh, we'll be able to get Joe Burrow in the third after 2018. Like, oh, if he has a nice little, you run it back with, it'll be the Drew Brees to Joe Burrow, and he goes for,
60 touchdowns.
60 touchdowns and the best season up to this date that you've had at the quarterback position, and now the Saints are actually at a spot where they could get Jaden Daniels. They're so bad.
Don't touch him.
Yeah, please don't.
Don't.
Like, I'd almost even say, like, the Falcons should draft him.
I mean,
it's a race.
Don't do it. I mean, the Saints feel like retro pre-Sean Payton.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's directing it. Nobody
Jim
has
Haslett.
a clue. The owner lives in Kentucky on a horse farm.
Oh, God.
I mean, the crew is all spending her money. Nobody cares about the Saints. I mean, this thing feels...
Well, and if you get rid of Mickey Loomis, look at what another GM would have to come in and look at. It's like, y'all's books are everywhere. Like, how is this working?
Right.
Why are
like,
we
who's going to
paying
come in?
him?
Like,
Yeah, I don't think that anybody else could run it.
That's what I'm saying.
That they're so
buried in red tape.
intertwined into the... I mean, like,
It's
into the corporation.
It's the accountant you had for 60
Vincent
years.
Enterprises.
Yeah. Where's that money coming from?
All of these, Losha and Loomis and all these people are like in the executive committee of the they don't care about the Saints.
They ain't going nowhere.
I mean, they're not. It's almost like kind of pipe. You almost get why they wanted Dennis Allen.
Mm-hmm.
A controllable
Yeah.
asset that's not going to be a headache.
Got a robot.
Right. I mean, a no guy.
Yeah.
Like
a fall guy.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Like, just tell him this.
Yes, Dennis, you'll be back next year.
The culture is okay.
No pay raise. But you'll be back.
You'll be the coach. You'll be all right.
We're going to talk to Wilson Alexander next here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Remember, daily, we're brought to you by Katie's Restaurant down in New Orleans. Online, katiesinmidcity.com. Katiesinmidcity.com is where you can find them. Daily lunch specials, New Orleans favorites, cold beer, best service. Stop in and see them. Katie's in Mid-City, located on Iberville Street. Got a sister restaurant, Francesca's, located in Lakeview. All of the information for both of them online at katiesinmidcity.com. Got new Sunday hours over there, 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. If you're looking for a spot to post up and watch the game, make sure and stop into Katie's today. Online, katiesinmidcity.com, katiesinmidcity.com. Wilson Alexander, next here on the Jordy Culotta Show, live here from our Click Here Digital campus.
Slow grind like IT, just know that I'm it. Now I'm back up in my bag, I'm giving them fits. Bounce the back like John Morant, you know that I'm lit. Making plays like Jack Bash, I'm never gonna sit. Had to be patient, so I waited for the situation. Now that I'm focused, I'ma take it with no hesitation. The hard times that I hated gave me.
If you're in the market for a mortgage lender, you need to start with Doug Bickley and his team. Bickley has built a crew with over 50 years of combined lending experience. They've been in business for over 20 years, and they love helping their clients achieve the American dream of home ownership. They're also key with working in real estate agents and helping their clients getting same-day pre-approval. They average about one buyer a day getting them in a home. If you want to get in touch with Doug and his crew, it's easy. Call them 225-214-5154. 225-214-5154. Go see the Bickley team today. They're located on the corner of Coursey Boulevard and Sherwood Forest right here in Baton Rouge.
What's up?
What's happening?
Chilling with a couple of cool guys. You?
Chilling and watching some tube. Hold on. Did you do it? Hold on. Did you do it?
Roof's up.
Hold on.
Roof's up.
Roof's up!
Roof's up.
Hold on. Hold on. Hold on.
Beautiful roof every single time.
True. True.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Head health is incredibly important for our student athletes. One of the best ways we're trying to address concussions is on the front end. We're trying to prevent these before they happen. And a big part of that is speaking to the athletes, letting them know what to expect. Okay, speaking to the parents, what to look out for, talking to the coaches so they know the vital importance. Some of the big things we're looking for with the concussion, which is, a traumatic brain injury, is one, was there a mechanism? Was there an injury that took place that could lead to this? Often a direct blow to the head, a head-to-head hit. If someone's showing signs of concussion, our first step is always to remove them from activity, get them to a place where there's less stimuli, where we can really just sit down and get a feel for the athlete, what they're feeling. We're looking for headache, we're looking for dizziness, any sign that coordination is off, that something's just not right. Get a good evaluation of them to understand what's going on. It's not worth the risk that may be there to kind of ignore it, because there are very serious consequences if we don't treat a concussion properly.
Don't let concerns about shifts in the market disrupt your long-term financial goals. Edward Jones financial advisor Daniel Newman can help. He'll work with you on an investment strategy for long-term results. Edward Jones can give you the tools and knowledge for a steady approach to hitting your financial targets. Get started today by calling Daniel Newman at 225-261-8262. 225-261-8262. Edward Jones, member SIPC. Click Here Digital, the home of the Jordy Culotta Show. Online at clickheredigital.com. If you're looking to set Google ads, set social media campaigns, learn about SEO, display video, or even creative, Click Here Digital has the answer for you. Online at clickheredigital.com or email me directly, Jordy at clickheredigital.com.
Inspiration, look in the eyes from my kids gave me motivation. Bounce back, can't let you fold up. Keep pushing, can't let you slow up. Bounce back, can't let you fold up. Keep pushing, can't let you slow up. Bounce back, can't let you fold up. Keep pushing, can't let you slow up. Bounce back, can't let you fold up. Keep pushing, can't let you slow up.
All right, welcome back here. Tuesday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show. As always, we are joined by our award winners, which we appreciate. Brooke Kirchhofer was here in the first hour talking some New Orleans Saints. Looking forward to our conversation with Wilson Alexander. Stick around. Honored to be a part of Flower Fest this year. Amy Vanderveer and her crew who put on Flower Fest with all the proceeds going to St. Jude Children's Hospital. It's such a cool community ongoing event that's been happening the last 2 years, and now this annual event. We're going to tell you how you can be a part of it, help us raise some money. We're looking to raise $5,000 for St. Jude and children's cancer research. We'll have some ways to do that, from some auctions to some fundraisers, but we will be giving you a QR code where you can help out. And like I said, all the money goes to St. Jude and Flower Fest and Amy Vanderveer, and we'll have a couple of representatives coming by the at the end of the show to tell us a little bit more about it. But let's catch up with our favorite, Wilson Alexander. He's from The Advocate, NOLA.com, doing great work as always. And Wilson, I was saying earlier in the show, good morning, good to see you. I was saying earlier in the show that I was a little surprised that the news wire hasn't been a little bit more active around here in Baton Rouge. Last week when we spoke, I said, next week is going to be a very busy week for you, kind of talking about this one, but it seems pretty slow and quiet right now.
For now, I think that's just because, meetings started up yesterday, and, Brian Kelly talks all about the evaluation process and yada, yada. And so maybe it's just that stuff is kind of just getting underway. I don't think it's fully just getting underway. I mean, conversations and things have been happening, for probably a while, really, inside the building. But, really getting into the nitty gritty of that now that the season is no. Excuse me, 1 second.
Oh, yeah.
Strange,
is that a cuckoo clock?
Yes.
Where am I? Where are you, Wilson?
Yes.
Blink twice if you need help.
I'm safe. Everything's
Everything's
okay.
fine. Everything's good.
That's right. Second week of marriage.
Exactly. Yeah. Taking over the household.
That's right.
Yeah. Oh boy. Okay. I completely lost my train of thought because of all that. Evaluations getting started and meetings ongoing, and all that. Those player meetings, exit interviews, those were started going on yesterday, and so kind of getting through that process. I think it's just why it hasn't all kind of happened yet. But probably around this week, there will be more news that is to come as Brian Kelly starts to make those decisions about this defensive staff. He said on Five Bomb yesterday it would be about a week to 10 days, and so somewhere within that time frame, I think, and maybe earlier this week, we'll see. We'll get some better indication of what his decisions have been.
So, Wilson, am I overplaying the timeline here? I thought that this week would be crucial because of the transfer portal opening up on Monday. The message of what you're saying to your team right now, whoever you're trying to evaluate in the portal, and then you've got a national signing day coming up here in a couple of weeks. I just thought that the urgency with the timeline, like Texas A&M, Mississippi State, with what they were working, was kind of like everybody's. That was what everybody was using. Am I overstating that?
No, I don't think so. I mean, it's certainly obviously with Texas A&M, Mississippi State, they were going after head coaches having to get not just, one half of the ball sort of figured out, but, an entire staff. And so that may be a little bit different. But no, there's certainly a sense of urgency because, like you said, they got to get back on the road and recruit, and they need to have who they're going to have somewhat in place. They're not going to, if they are making, depending on the staff changes that they're making, they might not have everything done and finalized, by National Signing Day. It all depends on kind of, who they're, if they were to make a change at one spot, who they then target for as a replacement, and if that team is, maybe still in a, bowl game or playoff scenario or something like that where they can't get, move over yet. We saw that, just as an example, when Brian Kelly was filling out his staff and got Cortez Hankton as the receivers coach. Of course, he couldn't actually be with the team or make that hire official or anything for quite a while because Georgia was in the playoff. And so even though it seemed like it was heading that direction well before, they actually, finalized that. But it is still certainly a sense of urgency. And I think that's why Kelly said it'll be within about a week to 10 days here because, they do need to get on the road. They need to recruit. They need to be ready when the portal opens. There's a lot of things to address with this roster, and they need to have a very good indication of what they're going to be selling to recruits and telling those people as they get into those conversations because there's certainly a sense of urgency here. I just don't think it is. Brian Kelly also doesn't want to rush a decision necessarily, and he shouldn't because you got to get this right.
Wilson Alexander joining us. Wilson, obviously you deal in the world of fact. We deal in the world of opinion. So I don't want to put you in a spot, but do you have a feeling on the coaching change, or not specifically names or positions, but just maybe how many coaches are up for discussion right now?
I mean, I think that the entire defensive staff is up for discussion. That was a side of the ball that obviously, as everyone knows, struggled immensely. And they have got to be able to get that figured out. So everything is on the table. I don't have a specific idea of, who is going to be retained, who is not going to be retained at this point. I think similar to you, have heard that there is a possibility that Matt House is retained. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility here. Is it going to ending up that way? We'll have to see. But I don't think it's one of those things really where it's like if you're someone who just assumed, okay, they're getting rid of him because of how bad the defense was this year. No, maybe not. They might keep him, and if they do, then I think it's a show of faith in him that they think schematically that Kelly would trust him, and that they really just need to get better personnel in the door. But they also could end up going in a different direction. But I've heard that that's a possibility. But again, I don't think it's finalized yet, and we're not yet quite at the finish line of what they're going to do.
Wilson, what do you expect with these draft or not draft with these bowl game discussions with some of these guys that are up in the air on whether or not they'll play or not? What do you expect, kind of the timeline on that, and maybe the decision making behind it?
Yeah, I mean, because those player exit interviews were going on yesterday, those sorts of things are going to be decided here probably over the next few days to a week. And players might not necessarily make an announcement right away, but LSU staff, actually Kelly mentioned this, I think, last week, that they had started having those discussions, kind of already. Like then Heath said they had a pretty good idea of who would be around, and they'll have an even better idea after these exit interviews. And so, while we might not hear about all of them right away, I think pretty soon they'll know kind of generally who's going to be playing in the bowl game and who's not. It's fascinating that Malik Neighbors says that he wants to play, because that's not someone who you would expect necessarily to do so, simply because of everything he's already accomplished. But man, post-game Saturday, he was pretty emotional and really, really wants to break that record. We'll see if people get in his ear or not and convince him otherwise. But he's someone who really said he wanted to play, and so that's one that you can already kind of maybe put in your notebook or whatever and say like, okay, well, I guess they're going to have Malik.
What did you see from Jaden Daniels versus Texas A&M, and did he do enough to secure Heisman votes, in your opinion, over the next couple of weeks?
He definitely did enough. It's whether or not people are noticing just how good that Texas A&M defense is, because to do that against that front is impressive. The record of that Texas A&M team was, obviously not good. They're 7-5, but that defense, they're a top 10 defense, and especially up front. And credit to LSU's offensive line also. They gave up 2 sacks. I think no other tackles for loss on top of that. And that was impressive against the A&M front that, like I said, it's top 3 in the nation in sacks and tackles for loss. And they were making life difficult at first for LSU. But the way that Jaden Daniels was able to finish that game, 355 total yards, of course, and 4 touchdowns, that's really good against that defense in particular. And so, and then when you look at the whole body of work now through 12 games, it's amazing. I know there's been tons of stats shared that people have been circulating on Twitter and stuff. Another one to add to it is just what he's done through 12 games and how that compares to previous Heisman winners. Since 2010, there's been 11 quarterbacks who won the Heisman. None of them have more yards than Jaden through 12 games, and only one, Lamar Jackson, has more touchdowns. So if that doesn't win you the Heisman Trophy, there's not much more that you can do.
Speaking of good, and I think one player that we may take for granted, Wilson, in just watching him play, and the stat that came out a few days ago is it's really just kind of mesmerizing to look at. 731 snaps Will Campbell played in 2023, and credit Cody Worsham for putting this out. Stats were provided by PFF. 0 sacks allowed throughout the season. And then the tweet is followed up in a description that says Will Campbell is different. He is different, right? What how good is Will Campbell? The pro scouts have to just be frothing at the mouth waiting on this guy next year.
He's fantastic, absolutely. He's nimble on his feet, but he's got a lot of power, and he's really good in his strike as well. Technically, he's super sound. He's balanced as a run blocker and a pass blocker. But he seems particularly good in pass blocking at times. The way he's been able to handle guys off the edge this year has been super impressive. I was shocked to see that he didn't allow any sacks, or at least wasn't credited by any with PFF. I'd be interested to see if LSU considers that any differently, because sometimes those grades are different on the team side of things. But either way, you never noticed him get beat really at all this year. I think there was maybe that one play with Jared Verse in the Florida State game in the opener. I think that Jared Verse got around the edge on him. But other than that, Will has been so good all year. The only time that you've noticed him is when he was throwing somebody into the sideline. Because other than that, he's just shut things down. And it's such an asset for LSU to have on this offensive line. You saw it start to come as a freshman, and he's been even better as a sophomore. And where he's going to go as a junior is, he's on that track to be All-American, first-round draft pick if he wants to be.
Wilson, obviously everything has changed around college football, the calendar, recruiting, transfer portal, NIL. How does it covering college football? How has it changed at this part of it when the regular season goes final? What are the stories you're looking out outside of the coaching changes and the roster changes that you've normally done over the years?
Gosh, well, that's most of it, these days, especially, the portal open on the 4th, and it's open for 30 days. And it's helpful, I think, in the college football world, both for coaches, for people who cover it, there are sort of those windows in place, and it's not just entering the portal kind of willy-nilly whenever. You kind of have to, you don't have to be on guard for someone saying they're going to enter the transfer portal as much. But it is still, this time of year, it's all about what's going to start kind of happening into 2024. And with the coaching changes that teams are making and the roster moves that are going on and signing day, it's a hectic time. The holidays aren't as relaxing necessarily as they used to be in college football for anybody involved, particularly on the coaching side of things. The way that they have to get on the road and recruit and, pay attention to the transfer portal and get ready for a bowl game or a playoff game, depending on who you are. There's a lot happening at this time of year. It's hectic, and so you got to be for anybody around college football. I think sort of be on your toes and.
Hello.
Hey, still got you?
Yep, got you.
Man out of Mitch, bro.
Sorry,
I don't know what happened.
we heard a little glitch there.
It
Sorry.
wasn't the cuckoo clock this time. I don't know what happened.
Reset the clocks.
Listen, we were on our way to come get you, buddy, and it's all good. Don't worry. All right, last one on the way out of
Drop
here.
a pin.
Are you expecting any booms, any like kind of like, whoa, this guy's leaving, this guy's going into the portal? I mean, I know that nothing's been reported, but is there any expectation for you on some of these stories that you could be covering over the next couple of days?
Talking about like from the LSU side of things,
Yes.
anyone leaving LSU's roster?
Yes.
No, nothing that I've heard yet. In terms of like a shocker, anybody leaving, entering the portal, we've seen over the last couple of years is usually guys a little bit further down the depth chart going somewhere to try to play more. And there wasn't really anybody who left LSU last year that I can think of off the top of my head who really made an impact somewhere else in a big way right away. And so I don't think it's going to be anyone necessarily who you're thinking, oh man, there goes a starter. Certainly there will be other teams that try to poach folks like that, and it'll be on LSU to make sure that they are re-recruiting constantly and that doesn't let anything like that happen. But at this point, no, I haven't heard of anybody yet. So we'll see as we over this week and as the portal actually opens up if that changes. But nothing at the moment.
All right, Wilson, we'll be looking out for the ransom letter. We are on our way. All is well. At WH Alexander _. Have a good day.
Y'all too.
All right, man, there he is. Wilson Alexander checking in from a safe room.
Yes. Lock the gates. Or unlock the gates. I haven't heard a cuckoo clock in real life, I don't think, ever.
Like, I probably heard one like when I was a kid.
I can't remember the last time I heard a
like
cuckoo
my
clock.
grandma might have had one, or my great grandma might have had
I
one.
do know I don't trust
I don't.
the room I'm in if
If it
there's
has
a cuckoo clock in it.
Wait, is that the
Well
little?
said.
Oh,
the
it's the
bird?
cuckoo bird.
Yeah, I'm good on that.
Yeah. So is he.
Thing scares me.
Brian Kelly mentioned retention a lot. Yeah. Do you think that's obviously? I think there's a lot of players that are on the fence about maybe going to the NFL. Do you think that that's what a lot of this pitch is? Also, as far as is that a plus or a minus in the madhouse category? You think in terms of making a decision?
I would say more retention on the defensive side of the ball
Right.
than offense. Because
really,
really,
if you want to leave LSU's offense, then that's on you.
Yeah,
You
but
know what I mean?
the people that are leaving on offense are
Oh no, it's not about the defense.
first round picks.
Yeah.
And I can see it both ways. I see it. I see it more in the camp of
trying to run this thing back and get it right.
No,
Yeah.
like this is too bad,
Coach,
right? I mean,
seen enough. Like if you're on the player side, like we didn't.
Because the talent to me
is not
a lazy take.
It's not the problem.
It's not the problem. I mean, sure, are they deficient in some areas? Absolutely. But are they the 120th ranked defense in college football? When you look at the schools and the players that are ahead of Mason Smith and Harold Perkins and Taviano and Andre Sam and I mean Jordan Jefferson,
Jordan
Allen. I mean, like, these guys can play. There's a lot of teams in the country that would take those guys, and for it to be this bad.
I mean, people talk about Penn State being the best defense in the country. Guess where Jordan Allen was going before he was going to LSU? Penn State.
Oh, he'd be a starter on that team.
Exactly. So, I mean, it ain't talent.
Well, I think it was just a combination of the youth, and you talk about how well, I guess, the secondary played towards the end of the year, but it was because they were kind of put in a situation where they couldn't fail. Yeah. You were playing them so far, you didn't ask them to do anything other than not let anybody get behind you. So that's where you get kind of caught up with players and scheme of how limited were you and play calling wise versus how much did you let your guys go and go do something.
And then
trust them a little bit towards it, because what it couldn't be. That's where it gets me with the house conversation. How do you have those guys, or how do you have those players at an LSU defense? I know they had some injuries and there were some things that didn't work out, but still, You got talented guys to be better than the 118th defense in the country.
And then you look at it and it's like
you got to be able to scheme it up at some point.
Right.
Like you got better players than Duke, don't you?
Yeah. And then they start whenever they started playing the young guys, it's like they wanted to play more man. And it's like you had two veteran
and they got
cornerbacks.
better.
Right.
You know, like that.
It's just so
like that's
weird.
coaching to me. You know, I mean, it's like
I
how
guess
can
they
you
just didn't
struggle so much with one player and blame it on experience when you've got a young, explosive,
freak
tackling machine standing and watching at linebacker? I mean, how do you not play Quincy Wiggins 10, 12 snaps a game when one of your explanations on one of the advantages of the program is development? Like,
I think it's
you can't argue. We can't argue that developing a player would be getting him playing time that is going to help that process happen. Him playing against Grambling, him playing against Georgia State, him playing 10, 8 snaps in SEC action when the opportunity presents itself, whether it's to spell time for people on the field or allow him to help you with his explosiveness, his ability, all the while developing him. I mean, I told the story at Alabama. I mean, I watched Quincy Wiggins run out of the chute at Alabama, and we were sitting on LSU's side, and Wiggins literally comes out of the game, like runs out of the tunnel to the game, and runs directly to the sideline, takes his helmet off and puts it like on a spot on the bench, and goes and sits on the medical table and watches the game on television for 4 quarters. And I'm not disrespecting, but it's just he's got no expectation to play. You know, like he doesn't have his helmet on. He's not ready because there's just no threat of him going into the game. And 2 years into a player like his caliber, I mean, I've heard the explanation from people, well, he's got a basketball mentality. He started playing football late in his, kind of his athletic career. He didn't start playing until he was a junior in high school. He doesn't really understand it. All that stuff I get. Like, I get. But when I watch a defense play and you have a guy like him and you're developing players for the future, there has to be an opportunity for somebody to step in. I mean,
the crux of the issue, and this is a tale as old as time for anything in football at any level, it's third down, and LSU just can't get off the field on third down. Georgia, 27%. That's how often they give up third downs. LSU, let me scroll all the way to 123rd. 47% of the time they're giving up third down. Like, if you can't get off the field, you're not going to win very many games. That's how you turn games like the Ole Miss into a shootout. You're in a shootout with Arkansas. Texas A&M, you got your one turnover. That's what changed the game. If Greg Penn doesn't make a play, you're the same. And same thing for the Missouri game. You have Harold Perkins make one play. And that's all it takes. That's how good your offense was. But the third down defense was really the issue, and it's because you have to point back and look at they didn't change anything up on third down. They almost got more comfortable the more that they've gotten to third and long.
They just went base defense.
Third down. It slice you up. So that's things that when you look at a defensive staff or a defensive coordinator, like, this is clearly the problem. Let's get this fixed. And you've 9 of 18 your last game against Texas A&M on third down. You get 50%. And I don't know what you want to call it, if it was an adjustment or not. It sounds like they made some at halftime with a cover 2 trail. But and then that's when they went 2 of 7 on third down. You get 2 stops and missed field goal, and you get 5 stops. Sorry, 2 of 7. You get like back-to-back stops and a missed field goal, and you still have to convert on 4th and 4 with the Jaden Daniels scramble, and he goes nuclear for you to like win comfortably. But you were losing most of that game, and it's in part you can't get off the field on third down.
Yeah.
And if that's one thing that they can't address or change, and if that's if you bring Matt House back, and that's the same thing that happens again, then it's not up for debate.
Yeah, and then that's another thing. Like, how do you, again, it goes back to like you're playing young corners and you don't want to switch it up with the veteran guys, and you say, oh, we're playing them because they have experience, but you don't want to switch it up. But then you get freshmen playing and you switch it up every time.
It's very confusing.
It is.
It's
I think
it's wild.
Part of it, I think they just were trying not to get into a track meet, but you ended up in one anyway.
Yeah, every
like
game.
You're trying to I guess, spell the offense at some point with long, condensed drives, but that's what they want you to do on the other side of the ball. They're trying to keep it out of Jane Daniels' hands, but if you give up explosive play after explosive play, then you're looking at trying to score 70 a game. That's where LSU was like trending in that direction of you have to score every time you touch the football.
Oh, without question. I mean, look at how they lost.
Yeah,
I mean, that is one mistake. I mean, that's what.
And if Texas A&M didn't have a drop fourth down early on from 42, like that was the fourth down that, I mean, he could have run for days again. And it's just those things that are just wide open that, and I know it's all in the past, so I'm not going to harp on it because it's over. But those are things that you look back on, like a couple of things here or there, and you had a year that this is going to be mostly forgettable. Like you'll look back and go, look at the stats, and go, wow, what if? Yeah.
Such a shame.
And because that feels like the closer we get to this Pac-12 championship, the farther Jaden Daniels gets away from the Heisman. Like it's just trending in that direction in a world we live in, and everything instantly has to happen, like Twitter, instant reaction. Bo Nix throws 4 touchdowns, it's give him the Heisman. Like that's just what's going to happen.
And he's throwing 4 touchdowns to checkdowns.
Yeah.
Like it's not even like Jaden Daniels, like he's dotting people up, throwing seeds.
Right, but it doesn't matter what it looks like. They just look at numbers,
stats,
and that's what LSU. And it feels like LSU is almost playing from behind for this thing, and it's starting to become like LSU fans are the problem for the Heisman. It's like, no, we're just telling you what's happened.
I mean, you're just providing facts.
Right, and nobody wants to hear them.
And that's the part that's so confusing.
It's such a weird narrative.
Like not paying attention to, like
have y'all watched the game?
How good he is.
Oh, they lost 3. I don't have to watch.
I mean, David, I think it was David Pollock that was on.
Yeah, with Kurt.
But he was on Dan Patrick's show yesterday, and he was telling him like every week. Like I don't know what people watch, but every week it's almost like a standalone tweet. Jaden Daniels is the best player in college football. Like he's put his stamp on that. Like, and he was just saying like, if people aren't watching this, I don't know what more they want to see. He's the most exciting player. He's the best player on every field. If you could put Jaden Daniels on any team in the country, and he'd be the most exciting player on the field every time he stepped out there.
Unless you're riding leave.
Well,
Ryan he's holding a clipboard.
Well, I mean, it's obvious. I mean, like, look, it's such a geographical.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's all the West Coast.
All South taken for Jaden Daniels. All really kind of the East Coast is taking Jaden Daniels. It's really just kind of like the West Coast
bias. They want it so bad.
It's not necessarily the bias, just the voices.
Yeah.
Whoever it is, whoever's speaking, whether it's a columnist from Portland or Seattle to a guy like Ryan Leaf who has, he's
got a platform.
Right.
But when has the Heisman been this like hotly contested? It feels like this one has like in a stand. Maybe it's just because LSU is in it for the first time. Where Joe Burrow, it was runaway, not even a question. Best season of all time, best quarterback of all time for LSU. Like it wasn't even a debate. And then you have this where it feels like the numbers are comparable to what you saw in 2019.
He has better numbers than Joe Burrow.
He does
through 12 games.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But it just feels like because of the 3 losses, that's the only thing that they're holding up. So they had to prop somebody up to keep interest in an Oregon team that, I mean, they're fighting for a playoff spot against Washington. That should be the story, not is Bo Nix better than Jaden Daniels when the proof is in the pudding. Jaden Daniels played the hardest schedule in the country.
Yeah, and Bo Nix ran from what Jaden Daniels ran to.
You're right.
So it's just so weird.
It is. It's
because it feels like it spiraled out of control.
It does. And it seems now so emotional.
It's
people. It feels like politics.
I mean, it is. It's like exactly what it is. It's kind of like you support this guy, I support this guy. And
but these same West Coast people were hammering the table last year for Caleb Williams to win the Heisman, and his defense was just as bad as LSU's.
Yeah, and it was like, it's something we've never seen before. I just don't understand how it was so easy for Caleb Williams to sneak through with 3 losses and West Coast again, I guess, but. Jaden Daniels had a better season than Caleb Williams had last year, and everybody knew who Caleb Williams was. It wasn't surprising.
It's weird. All right, come back with us. We're going to close out today's show. We're going to do that and tell you about what's going on. We are really, we're excited about being a part of Flower Fest this year, and we haven't really done our part as far as the promotion goes up to this point. The event's coming up in April, so we still have some time, but we do want to remind you that the pre-sale tickets are going to go on sale here at the end of the week on December 1st, and you've got $25 gala tickets. The festival tickets are on sale for $25, and the gala tickets are on sale for $175. You can learn more online at flowerfest.com. But I am a part and an honoree this year, raising money, which all of it goes to St. Jude. Good friend Amy Vandeveer, and she's got a great team. In fact, we're going to have a couple of people over here this morning from St. Jude, and one of the committee members from the Flower Fest is going to come over here. Kendra is going to be here with a St. Jude child who will tell us about how we can really give and show the benefits of Flower Fest and coming together as a community here in Baton Rouge. And really proud to do this, man. Proud to be a part of it. Online at flowerfest.com is where you can find more of it. So come back with us. We'll tell you what we have going on. We got a QR code if you want to donate this morning, which we would greatly appreciate. We'll be telling you about what's going on and how you can promote it, how you can donate to St. Jude Children's Hospital with that and much more here when we return and close it out here on the Jordy Culotta Show live on this Tuesday. Give us a like, share, comment if you have it before you get out of here. If you have not subscribed to the show and you're watching and you're here as a non-subscriber, please hit that subscription button before we get out of here. We appreciate it. We'll be back and close it out here on the show right after this from Click Here Digital.
In my bag, I'm giving them fits. Bounce a bat like John Morant, you know that I'm lit. Making plays like Jack Bash, I'm never gonna sit. Had to be patient, so I waited for this.
Malik Neighbors, a wide receiver.
Favorite pregame meal?
Popeyes.
What would winning a national championship mean to you?
It would mean a lot to me because, we seen a lot of the greats come through here, won their national championship, got, remembered for life.
If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Probably fly. That or telekinesis.
What's the best piece of advice that you've ever received?
Do it wrong, do it long. Do it right, do it light.
Kyle Lacey, wide receiver, number 2. Do you have any nicknames?
K2.
What's the best piece of advice that you've ever been given?
Stay humble.
If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Fly. I be flying in my dreams.
What's been the highlight of your partnership with us?
The bike giveaway was one of the best things. I was pretty excited about that one. Texas A&M, I just got a point to prove because last year I dropped 2 balls I should have caught. I'm coming for them for real.
That's it. Thank you, man.
My name is Harold Perkins, and I play linebacker.
What's your favorite pre-game meal or snack?
Pasta with a little steak, something that's not too heavy.
Any superstitions or pre-game rituals?
I pray a lot. Just be me and God before the game. Perky worky. I like when they call me the percolator. I like that.
If anyone gets in a wreck, who should they call?
Gordon.
Where were you born at, Greg?
Hattiesburg, Mississippi. But I claim 5-0 food because I was raised there my whole life. Favorite type of food is spaghetti. But you need to try spaghetti with some corn on the side. Funniest person, I'd probably get Kyron Lacey. He be having me joked out every time I talk to him.
Who's the most athletic?
Besides myself, Perk or Malik. Future self, just take one day at a time, one step at a time. If you're doing something, just be where your feet are. Make sure you give 100% effort.
What is something on your bucket list?
Win a Super Bowl. That's definitely on my bucket list.
If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Time traveling.
Who's the fastest on the team?
Like in a short span, I would say quick trigger, I'm taking Perk. One thing most people don't know about me, probably that I moved 12 times growing up, 12 different states.
Who's the most savage on the team?
Mason Smith. Mason Smith, definitely.
And who gets it done?
Gordon.
Thank you, man. That's great.
Emory Jones, right tackle.
What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Got it from my mom, and she just told me, always keep your head on the swivel.
Favorite subject?
Math, easy. I kind of keep it light. Give me some type of red beans or something like that. Throw a little cornbread on the side.
Light with red beans.
Yeah, just a little bit. I am superstitious. I got some PSDs that's purple and yellow and white. I wear them every game. I feel like they my lucky draws, and you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna keep doing it.
As primary care sports physicians, the things we think about the most with our athletes from a medical standpoint usually involves the head, the climate, and the heart. We have to be very careful about participating in sports when it is safe, but also having the proper equipment to take care of them if we are worried about the athletes. So here in Louisiana, obviously heat can be a big problem. Things that I think about as a primary care sports medicine physician is that it's safe enough for our athletes to participate. And there are certain regulations that we follow here at Ochsner, but throughout the entire state, to make sure it is safe for our athletes to participate. When we think about concussion, we have to really recognize those symptoms from the forefront, and that becomes a cultural issue as well. As for the heart, screening exams are by far the most important thing that we can think about. We go through a series of questions, but also listen to the athlete's heart and ask about family history and other symptoms they may have had in the past. By doing so, we can identify and potentially screen out athletes to make sure that they are safe to participate in the sports that they love to do.
Now that I'm focused, I'ma take it with no hesitation. The hard times that I hated gave me inspiration. Look in the eyes from my kids gave me motivation. Bounce back, can't let you fold up. Keep pushing, can't let you slow up. Bounce back, can't let you fold up. Keep pushing, can't let you slow up.
All right, welcome back here. Jordy Culotta Show closing it out here on this Tuesday morning. Appreciate all the interaction. Thanks for being here. Remember, hit that like button, share button, comment button. If you haven't subscribed, do us a solid and subscribe before you get out of here. Really cool and honored to be a part of this year's Flower Fest. Only the second year that they've had honorees for this, and it is a cool event coming up in Baton Rouge in April, and the pre-sale of the tickets for the festival and the gala go on sale on Friday, December 1st. All the information is online at flowerfest.com, and we have two representatives here this morning to tell us more about it. In Kendra Burgess and Meg Baker.
Hey.
So welcome to the set. Thank you all for stopping by. And Kendra, tell me a little bit about the Flower Fest and a little bit about the background.
Thanks for having us on.
Yes.
Flower Fest is a 2-day festival. Features tons of food trucks. It's out at Point Marie. There are tons of floral backdrops, so you've got all these great Instagrammable moments that you can get a picture taken at. But last year, Flower Fest introduced honorees, which is basically ambassadors who go out and we raise money for St. Jude. So that is the charity that Flower Fest benefits. So I was honored to be an honoree last year, raised over $4,000 for St. Jude.
Wow.
And I mean, I'm not a parent, but I am an aunt and obviously love children, and the care that children receive at St. Jude's is just unmatched. So we've got Megan Baker with us, who her daughter was actually the child that we just kind of like
the flower child.
Yeah, our flower child from last year. Mm-hmm. And I'm just going to let Megan kind of talk about all of the great benefits of St. Jude.
Yes, so my daughter was diagnosed with leukemia in 2017. She was treated by St. Jude for 3 years, and she is now cancer-free and has been cancer-free for 3 years. Yes. So anytime St. Jude asks me to do anything or there's anything supporting it, I'm all on board, because without St. Jude, I don't feel like I'd have her here. Yeah. I didn't know much about childhood cancer until it hit on my doorstep. So
wow.
Yeah, I'm very thankful, and I'm thankful for this, this festival. I had never heard of it either, and it was really cool. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's so much fun.
Everybody gets dressed up and has a really good time.
Yeah.
So how can we learn more? Online, flowerfest.com?
Okay, so yeah, go to www.flowerfest.com. But also, Jordy is going to be an honoree this year.
That's right.
And I'm
excited about it.
Honored to be your mentor.
That's right.
So we got to get some money raised for St. Jude.
Yes.
So we'll hook you up with Jordy's QR code for how you can donate to him.
Stewie, you have that? We can put that on screen, and we'll be telling you more about this every single day on the show of how you can donate. And look, it goes to a great cause at St. Jude. There is the QR code if you want to scan that. We can scan that through the show. Right,
yeah.
like
you
okay.
Just pick up your phone and
we can. Sure. So you can walk up and scan that. If you want to get involved today, we appreciate that very much. But we'll be giving you opportunities and some fundraising ideas on putting some stuff together, including I know that we have some like an LSU basketball, women's basketball game giveaway, and we have a signed basketball from the team that we'll be able to donate and fundraise off of. So we'll have some cool ideas and opportunities, but really looking forward to it. And being a part of this is really cool. Amy's done an incredible job.
She has. It's going to be awesome. And today is Giving Tuesday. So if you're thinking about what a great Thanksgiving you had and want to make sure that every child has an opportunity to have that time with their family for Thanksgiving, consider donating today.
Flowerfest.com is the website. We'll be telling you about it really here until April. on how you can get involved. And look, it's a cool event for our community. It's very young. It's only been around for 3 years, and it's really exploded onto the scene. So I am honored to be a part of it and be an honoree here. Appreciate Kendra for mentoring and staying on us for fundraising efforts. And Meg, thanks for your story this morning. How old is your daughter now?
She's 9.
Wow.
And
Nice.
doing great.
Nice. That's awesome. Flowerfest.com is the website. We'll be telling you all about it. Stewie, make sure and keep that QR code up as long as possible, if you don't mind. We got to catch up here. Where's Justin Vincent at? How much is JV raised?
I don't know.
Yeah, well,
I don't know.
coming for him.
It doesn't matter. You're going to make more.
That's right. That's right. $5,000 is our goal, and we're going to get to it over at Flowerfest. We appreciate being a part of it and being an honoree. Thank you all for stopping by this morning.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Flowerfest.com. Have a great Tuesday out there. Like, share, comment, subscribe if you have not done so, and we'll talk to you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m.
Monday through Friday from 7 to 9. Yeah, you see the notification, we about to go live. We got all your favorite guests, we got them in line. It's the Jordy Culotta Show, come have a good time. It's the hottest show around, we ain't gotta flex. Call up G, we get it done, we earning our respect. Tell recruits to let us in, where they going next. Throw up the L's, now we lit, band playing neck. From the boot to the east to the west coast. No matter where we at, we live, mic'd up for show. Open up the phone lines, come and join the show. Make sure you tell your friends about Jordy Culotta Show. Yeah, Monday through Friday from 7 to 9. Yeah, you see the notification, we about to go live. We got all your favorite guests, we got them in line. It's the Jordy Culotta Show, come have a good time. Monday through Friday from 7 to 9. Yeah, you see the notification, we about to go live. We got all your favorite guests, we got them in line. It's the Jordy Culotta Show, come have a good time, yeah. Hey, Chino, put my headphones up, bro. Right there. Monday through Friday from 7 to 9. Yeah, you see the notification, we about to go live. We got all your favorite guests, we got them in line. It's the Jordy Culotta Show, come have a good time. It's the hottest show around, we ain't gotta flex. Call up G, we get it done, we earning our respect. Tell recruits to let us in, where they going next. Throw up the L's, now we lit, band playing neck. From the boot to the east to the west coast. No matter where we at, we live, mic'd up for show. Open up